This is basically an economic question, and we're talking about an older plant in a rapidly changing technological environment. We know all over the U.S. that the dramatic reduction in cost of natural gas has put pressure on nuclear plants. We've seen any number of closures in this year. I suspect, and many other people suspect, we'll see more in years to come. The fact is that when Intel miniaturizes its fab one more time somewhere in the world, a large wafer fab closes. And it's not great, it's hard on workers, sometimes hard on investors, but it's the nature of technology. And that's really what we're talking about here. We've put together a report I gave my friends at City Light, one of them now, and we'll be dropping them off with Ryan Bonlander today. We'll deliver one to the administrator of Bonneville and other worthies. It's report pretty much speaks for itself. Astonishing enough, some people don't know where CGS is. And one of the things that was interesting about wandering the region is that a lot of people that say, what's two is still there? It's a very interesting world that we live in. It's still sitting in the Hanford area. It's surrounded by windmills. This, by the way, I just took Bonneville's windmill chart to show the change in technology. All of those lines and points are wind farms. All of them are changing the market price of electricity every day. And at the same time, we have a vast expansion of the natural gas sector, and the very low natural gas prices are changing the economic stance. Here's the timeline of this particular plant. In service in '84, according to our discovery, the last substantive review of costs at Bonneville, not just a review of the budget, but a review of the elements of the budget, took place in '92. In '99, Bonneville Energy Northwest, as part of a blue ribbon panel, adopted a market test that said that CGS would close and could not meet market prices. In 2005, CGS began buying fuel from a high GHG emission source. This is part of our economic analysis. It's just surprising. Last year, Energy Northwest contract with Paducah probably released enough carbon. It was the equivalent of 3 million cars. Now, none of that carbon occurred at Hanford. All of the carbon occurred somewhere else. Energy Northwest says that it is. It has no greenhouse gases. That's sort of true. But what they mean to say is they have no greenhouse gases here. Now, the good news is once that contract ended, the Paducah plant, that very dirty source, has closed. No one else wanted to do business with it. 2008 operating costs of the plant passed market prices. 2011, we repaired the condensers. 2022, we expect a turbine replacement, and we would expect the plant to close in 2030. Some people believe that if you get an NRC license, you're automatically guaranteed to operate during the lifetime of the plant. But this is more like a driver's license. It permits you to operate the plant. It does not guarantee its operation. Almost all of the closures we've seen have been within the lifetime of the license. So we don't have people waiting for the end of the license to close. The market test came from the comprehensive review and its follow-on the cost review panel. It is a term of art. Actually, it's in many documents of the Planning Council of Bonneville and Energy Northwest. We cited them in our report. Every 2 years, their operation was meant to be compared with market prices. CGS failed the test since 2009. Again, this is not surprising. We're talking about natural gas and wind. Here is the market test calculation. Red is the CGS avoidable costs. The blue line are simply forward prices from Argus. Now, one important point about this. We're about to have an interesting debate with CGS about forecasts. But this is not a forecast. These are actually forward prices. You picked up the phone today and you said, I would like to have power in 2015. You could find someone on the other end of the phone who would say, great, send me $10 million, it'll be delivered to your house. This might not be a good decision, but it could happen. The point I'm making is these are not forecasts. This is not an argument between experts. This is simply taking a look at market prices that exist today.
So, what are the prices for CGS? How are those just operating costs?
These are just operating costs. They don't include the same costs. Yeah. Problems and opportunities. Bad institutional structure. No one actually owns the plant. In fact, the ownership structure is a committee that's pretty much designed by a committee. 3 different disparate groups of public power are involved in the operations of the plant, but they do not take the power or pay the bills. That's done by Bonneville. The relationship between the two is with a contract from 1971 that was, to put it mildly, complicated. The costs, particularly O&M, appear to be diverging from industry levels. The location is putting it in the midst of overgeneration. That's a Bonneville term, which means we have times in the year now when we have so much electricity in that area. The Bonneville's been forced to order people to stop generating. In fact, the prices have been going negative at the time of the year. They would pay you to take it down. Mid-Columbia's price has been lower than avoidable costs, and this appears to be the case for years to come. Our recommendations are very straightforward. First, we need to verify that Section 15C of the 1971 project agreement gives the administrator the power to direct the termination of CGS. That says, if the go-ahead capital costs are more than 20% of the depreciated cost of the plant, the administrator can close it.
And the administrator is BPA.
Yeah. BPA should issue a request for proposals on behalf of Energy Northwest. It should assemble the responses and share the response data with the region. The final portfolio would be implemented by Energy Northwest. Now, every day, people make long-term power contracts. In a number of states, by mandate, by law, every year they have to put thousands and thousands of megawatts out on bid for what's called a provider of last resort. So there's nothing unusual about this. The key is we would not close the plant on a forecast. That would be bad business. We would close the plant after we had asked the market for the right price, gotten a portfolio, and decided the portfolio was superior to the plan. One thing here is the final portfolio will be implemented by Energy Northwest. There's a doctrine in energy that allows you to displace an expensive plant. You displace an expensive plant because the alternatives are cheaper. If we displace Energy Northwest, we do not have to go through a complicated rate war over who gets the benefits. The benefits would simply flow through the Bonneville rate case in the normal fashion. Most of those would come back to people like Seattle City Light, Tacoma Snow, which were big purchasers. The bottom line on it is that this solution would have as little disruption in the way we currently do business as possible. We recommend a decon decommissioning and decon handled by Energy Northwest personnel. That's a relatively rapid decommission, provides a fair number of jobs. It also tends to save us money because delay of decommissioning is proving to be expensive. Senator Markey has estimated that decommissioning costs go up 8 to 9% per year. U.S. Senator Markey. We think that's a little high, but still it's an important issue. Secondly, there are any number of transition methods well worth reviewing, and we recommend everyone to take a look at some of the measures in the Centralia closure. Transfer payments, job placement, etc. Bottom line, if we had replaced the plant on July 1, 2012, BPA would have paid $200 million less That loosely represents to a 10.67 rate decrease. Someone might ask where that number came from. I took it actually from a Bonneville calculation. Since no one in his right mind is going to rerun an entire Bonneville rate case, it would take longer than this entire study. Actually, they do take longer than this entire study. The impact on the average residential customer could have been as high as $50, but that is different by every utility. They have different rate making, they have different exposure to Bonneville. But it's real money. Cost analysis. CGS tends to rank pretty high in costs. Here is the employees per megawatt compared to those in FERC filings, and those FERC filings were assembled by going to the FERC and downloading their reports. CGS has more employees than almost all plants. Why is that? It's a singleton plant. It's an isolated plant. It's an older plant. This is not because the workers aren't good. It's not because there's anything rough going on. It just happens that when you have a 30-year-old plant, you have operating issues that are challenging. When you have a singleton plant, it's a disadvantage. CGS, I noticed, said to someone, well, it really doesn't matter how we compare with other plants. It really doesn't. They aren't in our market. It only illustrates why we're in this situation where we are failing the market test. Total production costs. This is a comparison with the FERC 401 averages. You'll see that it's quite a bit higher every year. Again, singleton plant, older, etc. Average generation per employee, same. Operating cost for KWH. I even put in the Nuclear Institute in its group, and it's still higher than the NEI. Now, one of the problems here is pretty simple. Let's say one morning you open up the mail and your great uncle is giving you a nuclear plant. You own the nuclear plant. You are going to be very involved. You are going to be on top of that every moment of the day. That's the situation for over 90% of the plants in the U.S. They're explicit owners, explicit management. Exelon, for example, the old Commonwealth Edison, very competent. They have the largest number of nuclear plants in the country. So they know every bit of it. According to Bonneville, the last time they got full detail on O&M was 92. That's a problem about having too complicated a management structure. Life expectancy. There really is no recognized method of determining the life expectancy of a nuclear plant. We actually assembled a life expectancy table right out of demographics. And based on current data, we would estimate 17.1